I've been trying really hard to stay positive about Star Trek over the last few years. Unusually hard. I try to give myself various reasons. First and foremost, most YouTube channels that talk about these subjects are already negative about Star Trek and have explained every possible nitpick there is to nitpick about things that are flawed and wrong with Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard so far. And I don't know, I've always kind of been a devil's advocate type, so it seems natural to try to take the opposite stance from the common trend. But in reality, I think it's just this kind of reflexive combination of not wanting to live in a reality where Star Trek is bad, and also years and years of already kind of being used to defending Star Trek against normies who don't understand why people like the show in the first place. But I'm fucking sick of it. So I got a Nintendo Switch Lite earlier this week, and I've been quite enjoying it so far. I'd have to say, from having been a Nintendo consumer for 30 plus years, whenever going back to when the original Nintendo Deluxe system came out in like 1980, what, 4, 85? Of all the things that they've made probably since the Game Boy Color, this might be the least gimmicky Nintendo product I've seen. It doesn't have 3D vision. It doesn't have little motion sensed joysticks for playing tennis with. Nothing detaches. It's just a simple little system. This is the light version, not the regular Switch that you keep docked to your television. Apparently there's a few games that it can't play because if you need the motion controllers, this does not have it. But the fact that I can have like a PS3, Xbox 360 level experience on something this lightweight and small is pretty cool. And retail price brand new is the same price of what I paid for Nintendo 3DS about, what, 4 years ago when I bought one. So yeah, I would recommend checking out the Nintendo Switch Lite. I know I'm not normally much of a video game channel here, aside from every once in a while trying to post a game footage video, but you never know, someone in the audience might be watching this Star Trek video and been sitting on the fence about Nintendo Switch, about whether or not they want to get it. It's very streamlined. No frivolous bells and whistles like a lot of other things that Nintendo's been making since the late 90s. So yeah. What was that?
Well, viewers didn't come here to hear you talk about Nintendo Switch. They came here to see you talk about Star Trek Picard. So get on it now.
Really? Fine. Have you ever listened to the Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie film for films : the soundtrack? There's some actually really cool hidden tracks from Master Shake and Meatwad at the end.
I said quit stalling, goddammit, and talk about Picard!
Okay, yes, fine, whatever. Fuck. Well, okay. Just got finished watching episode 8 of Star Trek Picard, Broken Pieces. I'm not sure how much it's just the internet poisoning my attitude about these things. There's a lot of stuff in this episode that early on in the episode it was kind of bugging me. But as the episode progressed, it kind of slowly won me over. There's a lot of aspects about this show that at first, like characters that I really just disliked or had kind of just neutral feelings on have grown on me, and characters that I thought I liked at first have turned out to be kind of lacking. I liked Girardi at first, probably because I liked the actress who's playing her from, what's that show, The Newsroom, that was on HBO several years ago. I didn't like Raffi, but I'm starting to like Raffi. I'm now disliking Girardi. I'm starting to like Soji more. I think I appreciate her more than Daj. She's and her willingness to accept the question mark that is her existence. She's kind of got her head around it better than Daj seemed to, although Daj didn't have nearly as much time. So, those things I like about it. I'm not liking Captain Rios much, and his holograms, oh my god, his holograms are so annoying. That was like really like the lowest parts of this episode, and this episode had some real low moments. But one of the lowest ones was definitely when Raffi was trying to interview all of his hologram projections at once. Oh, that was an annoying scene. All to solve a non-mystery that didn't need to be a big mystery. Could have been explained a lot better, easier, faster, earlier. So, anyway, watch the episode yourself if you want to know specifically, or listen to any number of other YouTube commentaries who will break it down plot point by plot point by plot point for you. I'm just trying to give general impressions. And it is late at night, so keep that in mind. Well, let's see. There were things I did kind of like about it. I wish there was more stuff with the Borg cube. We kind of briefly got a taste of 7 of 9 as a Borg queen, but they flushed out all the drones before she could activate them, or just as she was activating them, so that was a little sad. But 7 of 9 and Ella Vranban, whatever his name, our oddly childish murder Romulan ninja. They're now in charge of the Borg cube, and I guess they still have a couple of the recovered Borg that hadn't been killed yet, so yay. Romulan fleets, after Picard and the crew, were going to go to Deep Space 12 and have Girardi go to jail, but instead Soji made them change course, and now they're just heading straight to Soji's world of origin using Borg conduits. So it's all over the place. We hear more about like the specifics about what's driving the Shad Vash. Apparently, some ancient race from hundreds of thousands of years ago had created synthetic life, and they're saying that there's like a threshold of synthetic intelligence that's similar in a way to the warp field threshold, where once a species crosses the warp field threshold, it gathers the attention of other species that use warp technology. And so I'm guessing that there must be something where once a species creates a synthetic life, or synthetic life is able to evolve past a certain point, it attracts the attentions of other super advanced synthetic stuff that apparently has heretofore not been shown in any of the series, unless this is going to somehow tie into all the stuff with the AI bullshit from Season 2 of Discovery with Control. Or my own personal wish, I would love it if somehow this turns into a V'ger reference. Wouldn't that be grand? I still like the old fan theories that V'ger was tied in with the origin of the Borg and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Like I was saying, we did get to see this brief hint of 7 of 9 as a Borg queen. It kind of reminds me of a thought I've had for a long time, because, you know, they've always been vague about the specific nature of the Borg queen between the, First Contact and her appearances in Voyager. And my own personal thought, it's probably not an originating thought, but the theory I like to run with is the idea that there's probably been multiple queens over time. I mean, obviously, whatever physical body, even with Borg enhancements and nanotechnology, eventually it's going to wear out, and is going to have to be replaced with a new body, a new person to fulfill the role of Queen. And so my thought is that 7 of 9 was probably a candidate for that, and being, kept an eye on her, so to say. And that's why she was a tertiary adjunct to blah, 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 blah. And why the Borg Queen had selected her to go off with Janeway as a representative to the Borg. It was kind of like a test mission to see how this potential Queen can handle some, more independent thought, because the Queen's got to have a degree of self-actuation and self-determination that your average Borg doesn't have, because the Queen's the focal point that makes choices for the hive mind. So, I don't know if anything's gonna be done with that. This show, like I say, pretty much every episode either goes one way or the other. Either I start off like, okay, this is okay, and by the end of the episode, I'm really struggling to maintain that feeling. Or like with tonight's episode, for like the first half of it, I'm just like, please let this be over. How much longer do we got? This is painful. But then the last half, it starts to pick up. We got the closest to a genuine Picard speech in this episode as we've had in this entire series so far. So, yay for that. I don't know. There's just something off about the storytelling. Like, for a show that's dragged out this long and that has had so many episodes about character development, I still don't feel like I know a lot of these characters yet. And that's weird, because just a couple episodes into like TNG, you gotta feel like you got a good grasp of who Yar is and who Troy are and who Riker is and Geordi and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what the real missing piece is. Because like on the surface, a lot of the things that are wrong with it are also things that you can't attribute to classic Star Treks too. It's just something off with the tone or the pacing. Such is life. I guess if I was going to grade this one on a scale of 1 to 5, this episode was a 3. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't a snorefest, but it wasn't really great. In fact, since they have such a limited amount of episodes, and we had just had an episode last week that was fairly much just kind of like a quiet moment, a lot of talking, and not much in the way of plot progression. I would have thought more would have happened in this episode, but it was basically just the same as last episode, but now all that stuff happening on a spaceship instead of outside by Riker's pizza oven. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. Hit like and subscribe if you feel like it. Leave comments. All that good nonsense. Just started a new Rifts game for my tabletop IRL role-playing series. Last year did about 15 episodes running a D&D adventure, and now that I got my players warmed up and myself back into the rhythm of game mastering, I'm going to go to a game I actually prefer and enjoy, and that's Rifts by Palladium Books. The first episode's already up. I guess I'll leave a link to that in the description box below, so check that out. And we'll talk to you next week for Star Trek Picard, Episode 9.